Just to, wait, let me, yeah, it's about to go live stream. Yeah, I guess it is live. Hi, welcome. I'm Paul Sugarman of the Instant Shakespeare Company, and today we're presenting the Shaw Project reading of Arms and the Man. And David Cedar is the playmaster. So over to you, David.
Welcome, everyone. This is, of course, Arms and the Man, one of Shaw's early plays. A great deal of fun, I think. And one character hasn't joined us yet. I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves, but Drew Bolander, who's reading Major Sergius Saranov, is in the second act, so he will make an appearance later. Otherwise, could everybody please go around, starting with Clint, and introduce yourselves and who you're playing.
Hello, I'm Clinton Powell. I'm reading The Russian Officer and also Nicola.
Paula?
I'm Paula Hosa, and I'm reading Catherine Petkoff.
Leah?
Hi, I'm Leah, and I'm going to be reading Raina Petkoff.
Christina?
I'm Christina Osterling, and I'm reading Luca.
And Kieran?
Hi, I'm Kieran Cullen, and I'm reading for Captain Blunchley.
And I'm David Cedar, who will narrate and read Major Petkoff, the father. There's quite a bit of narration in this because there's a lot of action in this that you won't get to see. I'm going to, however, turn off my video for the first act and just read what I need to read. Act 1. Night. A lady's bedchamber in Bulgaria, in a small town near the Dragoman Pass. It is late November in the year 1885, and through an open window with a little balcony on the left can be seen a peak of the Balkans, wonderfully white and beautiful in the starlit snow. The interior of the room is not like anything to be seen in the east of Europe. It is half rich Bulgarian, half cheap Viennese. Above the head of the bed, which stands against a little wall, cutting off the right-hand corner of the room, diagonally is a painted wooden shrine, blue and gold, with an ivory image of Christ, and a light hanging before it in a pierced metal ball, suspended by 3 chains. There is also in the room an ottoman, a washstand, a bentwood chair, and a dressing table. The door is on the right, and there is a chest of drawers between the drawer and the bed. On it, there is a pile of paperback novels, a box of chocolate creams, and a miniature easel on which is a large photograph of an extremely handsome officer whose lofty bearing and magnetic glance can be felt even from the portrait. The window is hinged doorwise and stands wide open, folding back to the left. Outside, a pair of wooden shutters, open outward, also stand open. On the balcony, a young lady intensely conscious of the romantic beauty of the night and of the fact that her own youth and beauty is a part of it, is on the balcony gazing at the snowy Balkans. Her reverie is interrupted by her mother, Catherine Petkoff, a woman imperiously energetic, with magnificent black hair and eyes, who might be a very splendid specimen of the wife of a mountain farmer, but is determined to be a Viennese lady, and to that end wears a fashionable tea gown on all occasions.
Raina, where? Prince, child, are you out in the night air instead of in your bed? You'll catch your death. Luca told me you were asleep.
I sent her away. I wanted to be alone. The stars are so beautiful. What's the matter?
Such news! There has been a battle.
Ah,
A great battle at Slivnitsa. A victory. It was won by Sergius.
Is father safe?
Of course, he sent me the news. Sergius is the hero of the hour, the idol of the regiment.
Tell me, how was it? Oh, mother.
Oh, you can't guess how splendid it is. A cavalry charge, think of that. He defied our Russian commanders, acted without orders, led a charge on his own responsibility, headed it himself, was the first man to sweep through their guns. Oh, can't you see it, Raina? Our gallant, splendid Bulgarians with their swords and eyes flashing, thundering down like an avalanche and scattering the wretched Servian dandies like chaff. And you kept Sergius waiting a year before you would be betrothed to him. Oh, if you have a drop of Bulgarian blood in your veins, you will worship him when he comes back.
What will he care for my poor little worship after the acclamations of the whole army of heroes? But no matter, I am so happy, so proud. It proves that all our ideas were real after all.
Our ideas real? What do you mean?
Our ideas of what Sergius would do, our patriotism, our heroic ideals. What faithless little creatures girls are. I sometimes used to doubt whether they were anything but dreams. When I buckled on Sergius's sword, he looked so noble. It was treason to think of disillusion or humiliation or failure. And yet, promise me you'll never tell him.
Don't ask me for promises until I know what I'm promising.
Well, it came into my head just as he was holding me in his arms and looking into my eyes that perhaps we only had our heroic ideas because we are so fond of reading Byron and Pushkin and because we are so delighted with the opera that season at Bucharest. Real life is so seldom like that. Indeed, never, as far as I knew it then. Only think, mother, I doubted him. I wondered whether all his heroic qualities and his soldiership might not prove mere imagination when he went into a real battle. I had an uneasy fear that he might cut a poor figure there besides all those clever Russian soldiers.
A poor figure. Shame on you. The Servians have Austrian officers who are just as clever as our Russians, but we have beaten them in every battle for all that.
Yes, I was only a prosaic little coward. Oh, to think that it was all true. That Sergius is just as splendid and noble as he looks. That the world is really a glorious world for women and can see its glory, and men who can act its romance. What happiness, what unspeakable fulfillment. Ah!
If you please, madam, all the windows are to be closed and the shutters made fast. They say there may be shooting in the streets. Well, the Serbians are being chased right back through the pass, and they say they may run into the town. Our cavalry will be after them, and our people will be ready for them, to be sure, now that they are running away.
Wish our people were not so cruel. What glory is there in killing wretched fugitives?
I must see that everything is made safe downstairs.
Leave the shutters so that I can just close them if I hear any noise.
Oh, no, dear, you must keep them fastened. You'd be sure to drop off to sleep and leave them open. Make them fast, Luca.
Yes, madam.
Be anxious about me. The moment I hear a shot, I shall blow out the candles and roll myself up in bed with my ears well covered.
Quite the wisest thing you can do, my love. Now, good night.
Good night. Wish me joy of the happiest night of my life, if only there are no fugitives.
Go to bed, dear, and don't think of them.
If you would like the shutters open, just give them a little push like this. One of them ought to be bolted at the bottom, but the bolt's gone.
Thanks, Luca. But we must do what we are told. Good night.
Good night.
Raina, left alone, goes to the chest of drawers and adores the portrait there with feelings that are beyond all expression.
Oh, I shall never be unworthy of you anymore, my hero. Never, never, never.
She replaces it reverently and selects a novel from the little pile of books. She turns over the leaves dreamily, finds the page, turns the book inside out at it, and then with a happy sigh, gets into bed and prepares to read herself to sleep.
My hero, my hero.
A distant shot breaks the quiet of the night outside. She starts listening, and two more shots, much nearer, follow, startling her so that she scrambles out of bed and hastily blows out both candles. The room is now in darkness. Nothing is visible but the glimmer of the light in the pierced ball before the image, and the starlight. Sorry. The firing breaks out again. There is a startling fusillade quite close at hand. Whilst it is still echoing, the shutters disappear, pulled open from without, and for an instant, the rectangle of snowy starlight flashes out with the figure of a man in black upon it. The shutters close immediately, and the room is dark again. Then there is a scrape, and the flame of a match is seen in the middle of the room.
Who's there? Who's there? Who is that?
Oliver, you'll be shot. Be good and no harm will happen to you. Take care. There's no use in trying to run away. Remember, if you raise your voice, my pistol will go off. Strike a light and let me see you. Do you hear me?
She lights a candle, and the mystery is at an end. A man in a deplorable plight, bespattered with mud and blood and snow, his belt and the strap of his revolver case keeping together the torn ruins of a blue coat of Servian artillery officer. He reckons up what he can guess about Raina, her age, her social position, her character, the extent to which she is frightened at a glance.
Excuse my disturbing you. You recognize my uniform, Servian. If I'm caught, I shall be killed. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Well, I don't intend to get killed if I can help it. Do you understand that?
I suppose not. Some soldiers I know are afraid of death.
All of them, dear lady, all of them, believe me. It is our duty to live as long as we can and kill as many of the enemy as we can. Now, if you raise alarm...
You will shoot me. How do you know that I am afraid to die?
But suppose I don't shoot you. What will happen then? Well, a lot of your cavalry, the greatest blackguards in your army, will burst into this pretty room of yours and slaughter me here like a pig. For I'll fight like a demon. They shan't get me into the street to amuse themselves with. I know what they are. And are you prepared to receive that sort of company in your present undress? It's rather scanty, eh? Stop! Where are you going?
Only to get my cloak.
Good idea. I'll keep the cloak. You will take care that nobody comes in and sees you without it. This is a better weapon than the pistol.
It is not the weapon of a gentleman.
It's good enough for a man with only you to stand between him and death.
They are startled by a sharp fusillade in the street. Someone tries the door and then knocks hurriedly and urgently at it.
Do you hear? If you're going to bring those scoundrels in on me, you shall receive them as you are. No use. I'm done for. Quick. Wrap yourselves up, they're coming.
Oh, thank you.
My lady, quick, get up and open the door.
What will you do?
Never mind. Keep out of the way. It will not last long.
I'll help you. Hide yourself. Oh, hide yourself quick behind the curtain.
This is just half a chance. If you keep your head, remember, 9 out of 10 soldiers are born fools. If they find me, I promise you a fight, a devil of a fight.
A man has been seen climbing up the water pipe to your balcony. A Servian. The soldiers want to search for him, and they are so wild and drunk and furious. My lady says you are to dress at once.
I shall not search here. Why have they been let in?
Raina, darling, are you safe? Have you seen anyone or heard anything?
I heard the shooting. Surely the soldiers will not dare come in here.
I have found a Russian officer, thank heaven. He knows Sergius. Sir, will you come in now? My daughter is ready.
Good evening, gracious lady. I am sorry to intrude, but there is a fugitive hiding on the balcony. Will you and the gracious lady, your mother, please to withdraw whilst we search?
Nonsense, sir. You can see that there is no one on the balcony.
She throws the shutters wide open and stands with her back to the curtain where the man is hidden, pointing to the moonlit balcony. A couple of shots are fired right under the window.
Cease firing there, you fools! Do you hear? Cease firing, damn you! Could anyone have got in without your knowledge? Were you asleep?
No, I have not been to bed.
Your neighbors have their heads so full of runaway Serbians that they see them everywhere. Gracious lady, 1,000 pardons. Good night.
Don't leave my mother, Luca, while the soldiers are here.
Luca glances at Raina, at the ottoman, at the curtain, then purses her lips secretly, laughs to herself, and goes out. Marina follows her to the door, shuts it behind her with a slam, and locks it violently. The man immediately steps out from behind the curtain, sheathing his saber and dismissing the danger from his mind in a businesslike way.
A narrow shave, but a miss is as good as a mile. Dear young lady, your servant until death, I wish for your sake I had joined the Bulgarian army instead of the Serbian. I'm not a native Serbian.
No, you are one of the Austrians who set the Servians on to rob us of our national liberty and who officer their army for them. We hate them.
Austrian, not I. Don't hate me, dear young lady. I'm only a Swiss fighting merely as a professional soldier. I joined Serbia because it was the nearest to me. Be generous. You've beaten us hollow.
Have I not been generous?
Noble, heroic, but I'm not saved yet. This particular rush will soon pass through, but the pursuit will go on all night by fits and starts. I must take my chance to get off during a quiet interval. You don't mind my waiting just a minute or two, do you?
Oh, no. I am sorry you will have to go into danger again. Won't you sit?
Don't frighten me like that. What is it?
Your pistol, it was staring that officer in the face the whole time. What an escape.
Oh, is that all?
I'm sorry I frightened you. Pray take it to protect yourself against me.
No use, dear young lady. There's nothing in it. It's not loaded.
Load it, by all means.
I've no ammunition. What use are cartridges in battle? I always carry chocolate instead, and I finished the last cake of that yesterday.
Chocolate? Do you stuff your pockets with sweets like a schoolboy, even in the field?
Yes, isn't it contemptible?
Allow me. I am sorry I've eaten all of them except these.
You're an angel. Oh, craves. Delicious. Oh, bless you, dear lady. You can always tell an old soldier by the inside of his holsters and cartridges boxes. The young ones carry pistols and cartridges. The old ones grub. Thank you. Ugh. Don't do things so suddenly, gracious lady. Don't revenge yourself because I frightened you just now.
Frighten me? Do you know, sir, that though I am only a woman, I think I am as at heart as brave as you?
I should think so. You haven't been under fire for 3 days as I have. I can stand 2 days without chewing it much, but no man can stand 3 days. I'm as nervous as a mouse. Would you like to see me cry?
No.
If you would, all you would have to do is scold me just as if I were a little boy and you my nurse. If I were in camp, now they'd play all sort of tricks on me.
I'm sorry, I won't scold you. You must excuse me. Our soldiers are not like that.
Oh, yes they are. There are only 2 sorts of soldiers, old ones and young ones. I've served 14 years. Half of your fellows never smelt powder before. Why, how is it that you've just beaten us? Sheer ignorance of the art of war and nothing else. I never saw anything so unprofessional.
Oh, was it unprofessional to beat you?
Well, come. Is it professional to throw a regiment of cavalry on a battery of machine guns with the dead certainty that if the guns go off, not a horse or man will ever get within 50 yards of the fire? I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw it.
Did you see that great cavalry charge? Oh, tell me about it. Describe it to me.
You never saw a cavalry charge, did you?
How could I?
Perhaps not. Of course. Well, it's a funny sight. It's like slinging a handful of peas against a window pane. First one comes, then 2 or 3 close behind him, and then all the rest in a lump.
Yes. First one. The bravest of the brave.
You should see the poor devil pulling at his horse.
Why should he pull at his horse?
It's running away with him, of course. Do you suppose the fellow wants to get there before the others and be killed? Then they all come. You can tell the young ones by their wildness and their slashing. The old ones come bunched up under the number 1 guard. They know that they are mere projectiles and that it's no use trying to fight. The wounds are mostly broken knees from the horses cannoning together.
Ugh, but I don't believe that first man is a coward. I believe he is a hero.
That's what you'd have said if you'd seen the first man in charge today.
Oh, I knew it. Tell me about him.
He did it like an operatic tenor. A regular, handsome fellow with flashing eyes and lovely mustache, shouting a war cry and charging like Don Quixote at the windmills. We nearly burst with laughter at him. But when the sergeant ran up, as white as a sheet, and told us they'd sent us the wrong cartridges and that we couldn't fire a shot for the next 10 minutes, we laughed at the other side of our mouths. I never felt so sick in my life, though I've been in 1 or 2 very tight places, and I hadn't even a revolver cartridge, but chocolate. We'd no bayonets, nothing, of course. They just cut us to bits. And there was Don Quixote, flourishing like a drum major, thinking he'd done the cleverest thing ever known, whereas he ought to be court-martialed for it. Of all the fools ever let loose on the field of battle, that man must be the very maddest. He and his regiment simply committed suicide. Only the pistol misfired, that's all.
Indeed. Would you know him again if you saw him?
Shall I ever forget him?
That is a photograph of the gentleman, the patriot and hero, to whom I am betrothed.
I'm really very sorry. Was it fair to lead me on? Yes, that's him. Not a doubt of it.
Why do you laugh?
I didn't laugh. I assure you, at least I didn't mean to. But when I think of him charging the windmills and thinking he was doing the finest thing.
Give me back the portrait, sir.
Of course, certainly. I'm really very sorry. Perhaps I'm quite wrong, you know. No doubt I am. Most likely he got wind of the cartridge business somehow and knew it was a safe job.
That is to say, he was a pretender and a coward. You did not dare say that before.
Oh, it's no use, dear lady. I can't make you see it from the professional point of view.
So much the better for you.
How?
You are my enemy. You are at my mercy. What would I do if I were a professional soldier?
True, dear young lady. You're always right. I know how good you have been to me. To my last hour, I shall remember those 3 chocolate creams. It was unsoldierly, but it was angelic.
Thank you. And now I will do a soldierly thing. You cannot stay here after what you have just said about my future husband, but I will go out on the balcony and see whether it is safe for you to climb down into the street.
Down the water pipes? Stop, wait, I can't, I daren't. The very thought of it makes me giddy. I came up it fast enough with death behind me. But to face it now in cold blood, it's no use. I give up. I'm beaten. Give the alarm.
Don't be disheartened. Oh, you are a very poor soldier. A chocolate cream soldier. Come, cheer up. Takes less courage to climb down than to face capture. Remember that.
No, capture only means death. And death is sleep. Oh, sleep, 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 undisturbed sleep. Climbing down the water pipe means doing something, exerting myself, thinking death 10 times over first.
Are you so sleepy as that?
I've not had 2 hours undisturbed sleep since the war began. I'm on the staff. You don't know what that means. I haven't closed my eyes for 36 hours.
But what am I to do with you?
Well, of course, I must do something. Oh, you see, sleep or no sleep, hunger or no hunger, tired or not tired, you can always do a thing when you know it must be done. Oh, that pipe must be got down. You hear that, you chocolate cream soldier?
But what if you fall?
I shall sleep as if the stone were a feather bed. Goodbye.
Stop! They'll kill you.
Never mind this sort of thing. In all my day's work, I'm bound to take my chance. Now do what I tell you, right? Put out the candles so they shan't see you and shan't see the light when I open the shutters. And keep away from the window, whatever you do. If they see me, they're sure to have a shot at me.
They're sure to see you. It's bright moonlight. I'll save you. Oh, how can you be so indifferent? You want me to save you, don't you?
I really don't want to be troublesome. I am not indifferent, dear young lady, I assure you, but how is it to be done?
Come away from the window, please. Now listen, you must trust to our hospitality. You do not know yet whose house you are in. I am a Petkov.
What's that?
I mean that I belong to the family of the Petkovs, the richest and best known in our country.
Oh, yes, of course. I beg your pardon. The Petkovs. To be sure, how stupid of me.
You know, you never heard of them until this minute. How can you stoop to pretend?
Forgive me. I'm too tired to think, and the change of subject was too much. Don't scold me.
I forgot. It might make you cry. I must tell you that my father holds the highest command of any Bulgarian in our army. He is a major.
A major! Bless me, think of that.
You show great ignorance in thinking that it was necessary to climb up the balcony because ours is the only private house that has 2 rows of windows. There was a flight of stairs inside to get up and down by.
Stairs! How grand! You live in a great luxury indeed, dear young lady.
Do you know what a library is?
A library? A room full of books?
Yes, we have one, the only one in Bulgaria.
Actually, a real library?
I
should
tell
like
you
to see that.
I tell you these things to show you that you are not in the house of ignorant country folk who would kill you the moment they saw your Serbian uniform, but among civilized people. We go to Bucharest every year for the opera season, and I have spent a whole month in Vienna.
I saw that, dear young lady. I saw at once that you knew the world.
Have you ever seen the opera of Ernani?
Is that the one with the devil in the red velvet and a soldier's chorus?
No?
Then I don't know it.
I thought you might have remembered the great scene where Ernani, flying from his foes, just as you are tonight, takes refuge in the castle of his bitterest enemy, an old Castilian noble. The noble refuses to give up on him. His guest is sacred to him.
Have your people got that notion?
My mother and I can understand that notion, as you call it. And if instead of threatening me with your pistol as you did, you had simply thrown yourself as a fugitive in our hospitality, you would have been as safe as in your father's house.
Quite sure.
It's useless to try to make you understand.
Don't be angry. You see how awkward it would be for me if there was any mistake. My father is a very hospitable man. He keeps 6 hotels, but I couldn't trust him as far as that. What about your father?
He is away at Slavintsas fighting for his country. I answer for your safety. There is my hand in pledge of it. Will that reassure you?
Better not touch your hand, dear young lady. I must have a wash first.
That is very nice of you. See that you are a gentleman.
Huh?
You must not think I am surprised. Bulgarians of really good standing, people in our position, wash their hands nearly every day. But I appreciate your delicacy. You may take my hand.
Thanks, gracious young lady. I feel safe at last. And now, would you mind breaking the news to your mother? I had better not stay here secretly longer than is necessary.
If you would be so good as to keep perfectly still whilst I am away.
Certainly.
You're not going to sleep, are you? Do you hear wake up? You're falling asleep.
Falling asleep. Oh no, no, not in the least in the world. I was only thinking it's all right. I'm wide awake.
Will you please stand up while I am away?
Certainly, certainly. You may depend on me. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Oh. Where am I? Oh, that's what I want to know. Where am I? I must keep awake. Nothing keeps me awake except danger. Remember that. Danger, danger, danger. Where's danger? I must find it. What am I looking for? Oh, sleep. No. Don't know. Yes. Yes, now I know. All right, now. I'm to go to bed, but not to sleep. Be sure not to sleep because of danger. Not to lie down either. Only sit down.
He's gone. I left him here.
Here? And he must have gone down from the...
Oh.
Well? He's fast asleep, the brute. Sir? Sir? Sir?
Don't, Mama. The poor dear's worn out. Let him sleep.
Oh, dear. Raina?
And curtain. Okay, that was Act 1. Let's take a little break, say till, let's make a quarter of. We got plenty of time, so it's going fast, going quickly. This play, it does.
Okay.
Your picture, Shaw, that you.
Yes, I changed it to Shaw while you were reading your stage directions. So yeah. I figured that would be more appropriate than the ISC soup can.
It's Shaw in one of his more dubious. He's looking at us, sort of like, what are these people doing?
Yes, and it's also, I mean, I was going for like a sort of. It's also his younger, because this is an earlier play. It's sort of a younger picture of him as opposed to the more popular image with the big white beard.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like the. All right, so we have about 10 minutes till we'll start again, and since we do have a live stream that we can't sort of like pause or anything, we'll just keep talking for a little bit about Shaw and the Instant Shakespeare Company. The Instant Shakespeare Company is now in our 24th season of doing readings of all of Shakespeare's plays every year. And we're going to be, we do them now both on Zoom and in person because we have, because, well, we started, I mean, obviously with Zoom while we were while we were doing I mean, during COVID, when that all started. But it also gave us a great opportunity to be able to work with people from all over the place. So that actually one of the actors from our very first seasons, from our very first season, Angus Hepburn, who's a terrific actor and now lives in England, and he's also been in a number of Shaw projects readings as well, so he's able to participate in them. And we also have other people like Jennifer Finger, who's moved off to Texas. So that's one of the things that's really great about Zoom, that we can do that, and that we're able to sort of still participate in a Zoom reading, even if one is under the weather a little bit or still in quarantine for COVID. So there's that, and so this is a fun thing for us to do. And we also, in addition to doing things with the Shaw project, we also do work with another group, Molière Rendezvous, which does readings of Molière plays. Those are pretty much all on Zoom. And so we do that, and we really like to do, and we also do readings of new plays as well. We've done several readings of some of my father's plays and of other writers. I mean, as long as we have the permission to do them. I know one of the things with the Instant Shakespeare Company is that a lot of people are like, oh, hey, why can't we do a reading of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead? And it's like, yes, that is a really good play that uses the characters from that, but we can't do those unless you're to secure the rights for those, which is Tom Stoppard, that would be expensive. However, we have done, thanks to the Shaw Project, we've done the John Gilbert play about Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. So those are the things we can do, and we're very open to doing readings of any sort of plays that either we have the author's permission or that are in the public domain. And there are just so many great things. I mean, with Shaw and Shakespeare and just lots of wonderful plays in the public domain.
Shaw Project ran into a big problem quite a few years back now. I mean, we did Importance of Being Earnest, and we wanted to do the 4-act version, the original 4-act version, and found a version by a Professor Bell that concluded the 4th act. So this is when we were doing fully staged readings, and we did it. And somebody wrote it up for the Oscar Wilde Journal. Well, wouldn't you know it, Oscar Wilde's grandfather saw it and had a fit and came after us, and because he has a 4-act, he had put out a 4-act version of the play himself. And we tried to explain to his agents, look, we didn't do his version. We did this other version, and the guy, he still insisted, and we wound up having to pay the guy some royalties for not even doing his version of the play. It was either that or have to fight in court or something. So we just had to capitulate without having more problems. But
it's crazy. And I mean, yeah, because once you have to get lawyers involved in it, it becomes far cheaper just to pay the person off rather than having to deal with lawyers and court costs and all of that sort of stuff. And I think a lot of law things try and keep sort of copyright stuff a little sort of murky so that you have to hire them.
Yeah, I would so much like to do Apple Cart, which is one of my favorite Shaw plays, but we just can't because it wasn't written until the 30s. And by the time it copyright expires, I'll probably be long gone. Who knows?
Well, we're up to, I think, what is it, 28 now, 1928 in terms of things that are copyright. And January 1st is sort of copyright day when lots of things sort of go into the public domain. And it is.
And as we also, the tricky thing about the Shaw stuff is that Shaw, you might wind up, if we don't have all the same version of the play, with some slight differences in the script, because that was how Shaw updated his copyright. He would make little changes in the play that automatically meant that his copyright was updated.
Yeah.
He was a very canny businessman,
Mm-hmm.
despite his socialist leanings.
Indeed, yes, yes, he was, and I mean it's even I mean tough for playwrights to make money, so
Yeah.
he had to be very protective of that. I know there's somebody actually Players Press out in California that the guy who ran it, his mother was an actress, and that Shaw had given her a bunch of copies of his plays, which then the son was sort of like, oh well, these are things that were given to my mother, so they're we have the rights for them, and so he's done his own ones of Shaw, because I don't know how many different times he would rewrite them, but
Well, I don't think that many, but still,
yeah.
I mean, the copyright, what was it, 75 years or something? Anyway, whatever it is, it's once you update it, in Britain at that time, at any rate, you were covered for quite a while. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's now like 95 years, and I mean that's why it's like we're still in like the 1920s in terms of things that are absolutely free and clear. But there are some things that are, that actually get into the public domain, because it used to be you had to sort of renew the copyright, and people didn't renew the copyrights. Like I don't know what the of It's a Wonderful Life, but as I recall hearing, that one of the reasons that became like sort of a holiday staple was because the film had sort of gone into the public domain. I think it's now no longer in the public domain, but it had been, and that's why it was shown regularly, because the TV stations were like, hey, we don't have to pay for this, let's just show it. So, I mean, it is, there are all sorts of things like that. I think there are certain, yeah, so we don't know. But it is it is important to protect, I mean, the author's works for the author. I mean, especially during their lifetime, and now I think it's life plus 75 years. And since Shaw lived to be so old, it's going to be a while before it's like totally free and clear of his works, for all of his works. But a lot of them are, as this that were done earlier, are in the public domain. So, or at least a version of them is in the public domain. So,
yeah. That is, well, most of his really later plays are simply not, I hate to say this, Shaw, forgive me, but they're not, a lot of his last plays are just not all that great, but which is why they don't get done very often. Too True to Be Good is still done, it's good play. Simpleton of the Unexpected Isles, We did them all though when we did the Shaw project.
wow,
Full series, we did everything.
that's a lot, because it's like over. I mean, also considering all of the one acts and everything, it was like over 50 plays that he wrote. So
yeah. And then we started doing Shaw and. So anyway, I think it's time to get started again.
Yeah,
We need to introduce a new character. Drew, are you there? Oh, Drew.
I am here. Sorry, I popped on.
Introduce yourself, please.
Oh, hello. Well, let me get my thing up. Hello, I am Drew Bolander, and I'll be reading Sergius Saranov.
It's interesting. You are sounding a little muffled today. There must be something weird going on.
If I take this off, is that better?
I don't know. Everybody is. Am I coming across with a little muffled too?
No, you're fine for me.
I'm sorry.
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, no, I'm just, it's not as clear as it sometimes is today for some reason. Maybe it's the rain. I don't know. All right.
The rain here.
I'm going to turn off my video and make the introduction for Act 2. Act 2, the 6th of March, 1886, in the garden of Major Petkoff's house. It is a fine spring morning, and the garden looks fresh and pretty. Beyond the paling, the tops of a couple of minarets can be seen. showing that there is a valley there with a little town in it. A few miles further, the Balkan Mountains rise and shut in the view. On the left of the garden is the stable yard with its gateway, and it is at its gateway encroaches on the garden. A path runs by the house and rises by 2 steps at the corner where it turns out of the right along the front. In the middle of the garden is a small table with 2 bentwood chairs at it, and it is laid for breakfast with Turkish coffee pot, cups, rolls, etc. But the cups have been used and the bread broken. There is a wooden garden seat against the wall on the left. Luca, smoking a cigarette, is standing between the table and the house, turning her back with angry disdain on a manservant who is lecturing her. His name is Nicola.
Be warned in time, Luca. Mend your manners. I know the mistress. She is so grand that she never dreams that any servant could dare to be disrespectful to her. But if she once suspects that you are defying her, out you go.
I do defy her. I will defy her. What do I care for her?
If you quarrel with the family, I never can marry you. It's the same as if you quarreled with me.
You take her part against me, do you?
I shall always be dependent on the goodwill of the family. When I leave their service and start a shop in Sofia, their custom will be half my capital. Their bad word would ruin me.
You have no spirit. I should like to see them dare say a word against me.
Should have expected more sense from you, Luca. But you're young. You're young.
Yes, and you like me the better for it, don't you? But I know some family secrets they wouldn't care to have told, young as I am. Let them quarrel with me if they dare.
Do you know what they would do if they heard you talk like that?
What could they do?
Discharge you for untruthfulness. Who would believe any stories you told after that? Who would give you another situation? Who in this house would dare be seen speaking to you ever again? How long would your father be left on his little farm? Child, you don't know the power such high people have over the like of you and me when we try to rise out of our poverty against them. Look at me. 10 years in their service. Do you think I know no secrets? I know things about the mistress that she wouldn't have the master know for 1,000 levas. I know things about him that she wouldn't let him hear the last of for 6 months if I blabbed them to her. I know things about Raina that would break off her match with Sergius if...
How do you know? I never told you.
So that's your little secret, is it? I thought it might be something like that. Well, you take my advice and be respectful and make the mistress feel that no matter what you know or don't know, they can depend on you to hold your tongue and serve the family faithfully. That's what they like. And that's how you'll make most of them.
You have the soul of a servant.
Yes, that's the secret of success in service.
Hello there, Nicola.
Master, back from the war.
My word for it, Luca, the war's over. Off with you and get some fresh coffee.
You'll never put the soul of a servant into me.
Breakfast out here, eh?
Yes, sir. The mistress and Miss Raina have just gone in.
Go and say I've come and get me some fresh coffee.
It's coming, sir. Have you told the mistress?
Yes, she is coming.
Well, the Servians haven't run away with you, have they?
No, sir.
That's right. Have you brought me some cognac?
Here, sir.
That's right.
Prize for us. Have they brought you fresh coffee?
Oh, yes. Luca's been looking after me. The war's over. The treaty was signed 3 days ago at Bucharest, and the decree for our army to demobilize was issued today.
The war over, Paul. Have you let the Austrians force you to make peace?
My dear, they didn't consult me. What could I do? But of course, we saw to it that the treaty was an honorable one. It declares peace,
Peace?
but not friendly relations. Remember that. They wanted to put that in, but I insisted on its being struck out. What more could I do?
You could have annexed Serbia and made Prince Alexander Emperor of the Balkans. That's what I would have done.
I don't doubt it in the least, my dear, but it would have had I would have had to subdue the entire Austrian Empire first, and that would have kept me too long away from you. I missed you terribly.
Oh,
Yeah. And how have you been, my dear?
my usual sore throats, that's all.
That comes from washing your neck every day. I've often told you so.
Nonsense, Paul.
I don't believe in going too far with these modern customs. All this washing can't be good for the health. It's not natural. There was an Englishman at Philippopolis who used to wet himself all over with cold water every morning when he got up. Disgusting. It all comes from the English. Their climate makes them so dirty that they have to be perpetually washing themselves. Look at my father. He never had a bath in his life, and he lived to be 98, the healthiest man in Bulgaria. I don't mind a good wash once a week to keep up my position, but once a day is carrying the thing to a ridiculous extreme.
You're a barbarian at heart still, Paul. I hope you behaved yourself before all those Russian officers.
I did my best. I took care to let them know that we had a library.
Ah, but you didn't tell them that we have an electric bell in it? I have had one put up.
What's an electric bell?
You touch a button, something tinkles in the kitchen, and then Nicola comes up.
Why not shout for him?
Civilized people never shout for their servants. I've learned that while you were away.
Well, I'll tell you something I've learned too. Civilized people don't hang out their washing to dry where visitors can see it. So you better have all that put somewhere else.
Oh, that's absurd, Paul. I don't believe really refined people notice such things.
There's Sergius. Hello, Nicola.
Oh, don't shout, Paul. It really isn't nice.
Bosh. Nicola!
Yes, sir.
If that is Major Saradov, bring him around this way.
Yes, sir.
You must talk with him, my dear, and until Raina takes him off our hands. He bores my life out about not promoting him over my head, mind you.
He certainly ought to be promoted when he marries Raina. Besides, the country should insist on having at least one native general.
Yes, so that he can throw away whole brigades instead of regiments. It's no use, my dear. He has not the slightest chance of promotion until we are quite sure that the peace will be a lasting one.
Major Sergius Saranov!
Here already, Sergius. Glad to see you.
Oh, my dear Sergius.
My dear mother, if I may call you so.
Mother-in-law, Sergius, mother-in-law. Sit down, have some coffee.
Thank you, none from me.
You look superb, splendid. The campaign has improved you. Everybody here is mad about you. We were all wild with enthusiasm about that magnificent cavalry charge.
Madam, it was the cradle and the grave of my military reputation.
How so?
I won the battle the wrong way when our worthy Russian generals were losing it the right way. That upset their plans and wounded their self-esteem. 2 of their colonels got their regiments driven back on correct principles of scientific warfare. 2 major generals got killed strictly according to military etiquette. Now, those 2 colonels are now major generals, and I am still a simple major.
Oh, you shall not remain so, Sergius. The women are on your side, and they will see that justice is done you.
It's too late. I have only waited for the peace to send in my resignation.
The resignation?
Oh, you must withdraw it.
Oh, I never withdraw.
Now, who could have supposed you were going to do such a thing?
Everyone who knew me. But enough of myself and my affairs. How is Raina? Where is Raina?
Raina is here.
Now, pretty, isn't it? She always appears at the right moment.
Yes, she listens for it. It's an abominable habit.
Dear father, welcome home.
My little pet girl.
And so you're no longer a soldier, Sergius.
I am no longer a soldier. Soldiering, my dear madam, is the coward's art of attacking mercilessly when you are strong and keeping out of harm's way when you are weak. Now, that is the whole secret of successful fighting. Get your enemy at a disadvantage and never on any account fight him on equal terms. Eh, Major?
They wouldn't let us make a fair fight of it, fair stand-up fight of it. However, I suppose soldiering has to be a trade like any other trade.
Oh, precisely. And I have no ambition to succeed as a tradesman. So I have taken the advice of that bagman of a captain that settled the exchange of prisoners with us at Pirot and given up.
What, that Swiss fellow? Sergius, I've often thought of that exchange since. He overreached us about those horses.
Of course he overreached us. His father was a hotel and livery stable keeper, and he owed his first step to the knowledge of horse dealing. He was a soldier, every inch a soldier. If only I had bought the horses for my regiment instead of foolishly leading them into danger, I should have been a field marshal now.
A Swiss? What was he doing in the Servian army?
A volunteer, of course, keen on picking up his profession. We shouldn't have been able to begin fighting if those foreigners hadn't shown us how to do it. We knew nothing about it, and neither did the Servians. Gad, there'd have been no war without them.
Are there many Swiss officers in the Serbian army?
No, all Austrians, just as our officers were all Russians. This was the only Swiss I came across. I'll never trust a Swiss again. He cheated us, humbugged us into giving him 50 able-bodied men for 200 confounded, worn-out charges. They weren't even edible.
We were two children in the hands of a consummate soldier, Major. Simply two innocent children.
What was he like?
Oh, Raina, what a silly question.
He was like a commercial traveler in uniform, bourgeois to his boots.
Sergius, tell Catherine that queer story his friend told us about him, how he escaped after Slivnitska. You remember, about his being hid by two women?
Oh, yes, quite a romance. He was serving in the very battery I so unprofessionally charged. And being a thorough soldier, he ran away like the rest of them, with our cavalry at his heels. To escape their attentions, he had the good taste to take refuge in the chamber of some patriotic Bulgarian lady. Now, the lady was enchanted by his persuasive commercial traveler's manners, and she very modestly entertained him for an hour or so, and then called in her mother lest her conduct should appear unmaidenly. The old lady was equally fascinated, and the fugitive was sent on his way in the morning, disguised in an old coat belonging to the master of the house, who was away at the war.
Your life in the camp has made you coarse. Sergius, I did not think you would have repeated such a story before me.
She's right, Sergius. If such women exist, we should be spared the knowledge of them.
Oh, nonsense. What does it matter?
No, Petkov, I was wrong. I beg your pardon. I behaved abominably. Forgive me, Raina. And you too, madam? Oh, the glimpses I've seen of the seamy side of life during the last few months have made me cynical. But I should not have brought my cynicism here, least of all into your presence, Raina.
Oh, stop it, nonsense, Sergius. That's quite enough fuss about this, about nothing. A soldier's daughter should be able to stand up without flinching to a little strong conversation. Come, it's time for us to get to business. We have to make up our minds how those 3 regiments are to get back to Philippopolis. There's no forage for them on the Sophia route. Come along.
Oh, Paul, can't you spare Sergius for a few moments? Raina has hardly seen him yet. Perhaps I can help you to settle about the regiments.
Oh, my dear madam, impossible. You
And
see,
you stay here, my dear Sergius. There's no hurry. I have a word or two to say to Paul. Now, dear, come and see the electric bell.
Oh, very well, very well.
am I forgiven?
My hero, my king,
My queen.
how I have envied you, Sergius. You've been out in the world, on the field of battle, able to prove yourself there worthy of any woman in the world, whilst I have had to sit at home, inactive, dreaming, useless, doing nothing that could give me the right to call myself worthy of any man.
Dearest, all my deeds have been yours. You inspired me. I've gone through the war like a knight in a tournament with his lady looking on at him.
You have never been absent from my thoughts for a moment. Sergius, I think we two have found the higher love. When I think of you, I feel that I could never do a base deed or think an ignoble thought.
My lady and my saint.
My lord and my...
Oh, shh. Let me be the worshipper, dear. You little know how unworthy even the best man is of a girl's pure passion.
I trust you. I love you. You'll never disappoint me, Sergius. Hush. I can't pretend to talk indifferently before her. My heart is too full. I will go get my hat and then we can go out until lunchtime. Wouldn't you like that?
I'll be quick. If you're away 5 minutes, it will seem 5 hours. Luca, do you know what the higher love is?
No, sir.
Ah, very fatiguing thing to keep up for any length of time, Luca. One feels the need of some relief after it.
Perhaps you would like some coffee, sir?
Thank you, Luca.
Oh, sir, you know I didn't mean that. I'm surprised at you.
I'm surprised at myself, Luca. What would Sergius, the hero of Slivnitsa, say if he saw me now? What would Sergius, the apostle of higher love, say if he saw me now? What would half a dozen Sergiuses who keep popping in and out of my handsome figure of mine say if they caught us here? Do you consider my figure handsome, Luca?
Let me go, sir. I shall be disgraced. Oh, will you let me go?
No.
Stand back where we can't be seen. Have you no common sense?
Yeah, that's reasonable.
I may have been seen from the windows. Miss Raina is sure to be spying about after you.
Oh, take care, Luca. I may be worthless enough to betray the higher love, but do not you insult it.
Not for the world, sir, I'm sure. May I go on with my work, please, now?
You are a provoking little witch, Luca. If you were in love with me, would you spy out of windows at me?
Well, you see, sir, since you say you are half a dozen different gentlemen all at once, I should have a great deal to look after.
Witty as well as pretty.
No, I do not want your kisses. Gentlefolk are all alike. You making love to me behind Miss Raina's back and she doing the same behind yours.
Luca.
Shows how little you really care.
If our conversation is to continue, Luca, you will please remember that a gentleman does not discuss the conduct of the lady he is engaged with to her maid.
It's so hard to know what a gentleman considers right. I thought from your trying to kiss me that you had given up on being so particular.
Devil! Devil!
Ha! I expect one of the 6 of you is very like me, sir, though I am only Miss Raina's maid.
But which of the 6 is the real man? That's the question that torments me. One of them is a hero, another a buffoon. another a humbug, and perhaps another a bit of a blackguard. And one, at least, is a coward, jealous like all cowards. Luca,
Yes,
who is my rival?
you shall never get that out of me for love or money.
Why?
Well, never mind why. Besides, you would tell that I told you, and I should lose my place.
No, on the honor of us, of a man capable of behaving as I have been behaving for the last 5 minutes. Who is he?
I don't know. I never saw him. I only heard his voice through the door of her room.
Damnation, how dare you?
Oh, I mean you no harm. You've no right to take up my words like that. The mistress knows all about it. And I tell you that if that gentleman ever comes back here again, Miss Raina will marry him, whether he likes it or not. I know the difference between the sort of manner you and she put on before one another and the real manner.
Now you listen to me.
Not so tight. You're hurting me.
Oh, that doesn't matter. You've stained my honor by making me a party to your eavesdropping. And you've betrayed your mistress.
Please.
And that shows that you are an abominable little clod of common clay with the soul of a servant.
You know how to hurt with your tongue as well as with your hands. But I don't care now I've found out that whatever clay I'm made of, you're made of the same. And as for her, she's a liar, and her fine airs are a cheat, and I am worth 6 of her.
Luca, a gentleman has no right to hurt a woman under any circumstances. I beg your pardon.
Well, that sort of apology may satisfy a lady. Of what use is it to a servant?
Oh, you wish to be paid for the hurt?
No, I want my hurt made well.
How? Never.
I'm ready. What's the matter? Have you been flirting with Luca?
No. How can you think of such a thing?
Forgive me, dear. It was only a jest. I am so happy today.
I am sorry to disturb you, children, but Paul is distracted over those 3 regiments. He does not know how to get them to Philippopolis, and he objects to every suggestion of mine. You must go and help him, Sergius. He's in the library.
We're just going for a little walk.
I shall not be long. Wait for me just 5 minutes.
I shall go round and wait in full view of the library windows. Be sure you draw father's attention to me. If you were a moment longer than 5 minutes, I shall go in and fetch you, regiments or no regiments.
Very well.
Imagine them meeting that Swiss and hearing the whole story. The very first thing your father asked for was the old coat we sent him off in. A nice mess you got us into.
Little beast.
Little beast? What little beast?
Go and tell. Oh, if I had him here, I'd stuff him with chocolate creams till he couldn't ever speak again.
Oh, don't talk nonsense. Tell me the truth, Raina. How long was he in your room before you came to me?
Oh, I forget.
You cannot forget. Did he really climb up after the soldiers were gone, or was he there when that officer searched the room?
No. Yes, I think he must have been there then.
You think? Oh, Raina, will anything ever make you straightforward? If Sergius finds out, it is all over between you.
Oh, I know Sergius is your pet. I sometimes wish you could marry him instead of me. You would just suit him. You would pet him and spoil him and mother him to perfection.
Well, upon my word.
I always feel a longing to do or say something dreadful to him, to shock his propriety, to scandalize the 5 senses out of him. I don't care whether he finds out about the chocolate cream soldier or not. I have hope he may.
And what should I be able to say to your father, pray?
Oh, poor father, as if he could help himself.
Oh, if you were only 10 years younger. Well,
There's a gentleman just called, madam. A Servian officer.
a Servian, how dare he? Oh, I forgot. We are at peace now. I suppose we shall have them calling every day to pay their compliments. Well, if he is an officer, why don't you tell your master he's in the library with Major Saranoff? Why do you come to me?
But he asks for you, madam. And I don't think he knows who you are. He said the lady of the house. He gave me this little ticket for you.
Captain Blunchley, that's a German name.
Swiss, madam, I think.
Wiss. What does he like?
He has a big carpet bag.
Oh, heavens, he's come to return the coat. Oh, send him away. Say we're not at home. Ask him to leave his address and I'll write to him. Oh, stop, that will never do. Wait! The master and Major Saranoff are busy in the library, aren't they?
Yes, madam.
Well, bring the gentleman out here at once and be very polite to him. Don't delay. Here, leave that here and go straight back to him.
Yes, madam.
Luca,
Yes, madam.
is the library door shut?
I think so, madam.
If not, shut it as you pass through.
Yes, madam.
Stop. Oh, he will have to go out that way. Tell Nicola to bring his bag here after him. Don't forget.
His bag?
Yes, here, as soon as possible. Be quick. Oh, how can a man be such a fool? Such a moment to select. Oh,
Captain Blunchley?
Captain Blunchley, I am very glad to see you, but you must leave this house at once. My husband has just returned with my future son-in-law, and they know nothing. If they did, the consequences would be terrible. You are a foreigner. You do not feel our national animosities as we do. We still hate the Serbians. The only effect of the peace on my husband is to make him feel like a lion balked of his prey. If he discovered our secret, he would never forgive me, and my daughter's life would hardly be safe. Will you, like the chivalrous gentleman and soldier you are, leave at once before he finds you here?
At once, gracious lady. I only came to thank you and return the coat you lent me. If you will allow me to take it out of my bag and leave it with your servant as I pass out, I need detain you no further.
You must not think of going back that way. This is the shortest way out. Many thanks. So glad to have been of service to you. Goodbye.
But my bag?
It will be sent on. You will leave me your address.
True. Allow me.
My dear Captain Blunchley.
Oh, heavens.
Those stupid people of mine thought I was out here instead of in the library. I saw you through the window. I was wondering why you didn't come in. Saranoff was with me. You remember him, don't you?
Welcome our friend and enemy.
No longer the enemy, happily. I hope you come as a friend and not as on business.
Oh, quite as a friend, Paul. I was just asking Captain Blunchley to stay to lunch, but he declares he must go at once.
Impossible, Blunchley. We want you here badly. We have to send in 3 cavalry regiments to Philippopolis, and we don't in the least know how to do it.
Philippopolis? The forge is trouble, eh?
Yes, that's it. He sees the whole thing at once.
I think I can show you how to manage that.
Invaluable man. Come along.
Oh, the chocolate cream soldier.
My dear Raina, don't you see that we have a guest here? Captain Blunchley, one of our new Serbian friends.
How silly of me. I made a beautiful ornament this morning for the ice pudding, and that stupid Nicola just had to put down the pile of plates on it and spoiled it. I hope you don't think that you were the chocolate cream soldier, Captain Bluntschli.
I assure you I did. Your explanation was a relief.
And since when, pray, have you taken to cooking?
Oh, whilst you were away, it's her latest fancy.
And has Nicola taken to drinking? He used to be careful enough. First he shows Captain Bluntschli out here when he knew quite well I was in the library, and then he goes downstairs and breaks Raina's chocolate soldier. He must... Are you mad, Nicola?
Sir?
What have you brought that for?
My lady's orders, sir. Luca told me that.
My orders? Why should I order you to bring Captain Bluntschli's luggage out here? What are you thinking of, Nicola?
I beg your pardon, sir. I am sure. My fault, madam. I hope you'll all overlook it.
You'd better go and slam that bag too down on Miss Raina's ice pudding. Oh, you begone, you butterfingered donkey.
Yes, sir.
Oh, never mind, Paul. Don't be angry.
Scoundrel. He's got out of hand while I was away. I'll teach him. Yeah. Oh, well, never mind. Come, Bluntschli, let's have no more nonsense about your having to go away. You know very well you're not going back to Switzerland yet. Until you do go back, you'll stay with us.
Oh, do, Captain Bluntschli.
Now, Catherine, if it's of you that he's afraid, press him and he'll stay.
Of course, I shall be only too delighted if Captain Bluntschli really wishes to stay. He knows my wishes.
I am at Madame's orders.
That settles it.
Of course.
You see, you must stay.
Well, if I must.
And curtain. Okay, let's take another break till 25 after, before we do Act 3. This one zips along.
Yes, indeed. And it's so much a comedy of people that's coming in on each other, and very, very a lot of fun. I think this is probably one of the ones that they do a lot. I guess probably Misalliance and Heartbreak House and Nature Bar. I mean, he wrote a lot of really great plays, and this is a lot of fun. And yeah, so we're very, very pleased. And we also with these Zoom readings, they're also on YouTube, on the Instant Shakespeare Company YouTube channel, where you can watch them, including all of the ones that the Shaw Project has done. I have to check and make sure that I've got, there are categories, and I need to check to make sure I've got all of the Shaw Project ones specially indicated as such. But yeah, because we do this on a regular basis, and we've gotten through quite a number of plays. So yes, and it's just so sort of this play from all this time ago about these wars in the Balkans, and it's like, wow, so many things that are still going on. I mean, what's going on right now, and with the Serbians and the Armenians, with Nagorno-Karabakh. It's very sad that these neighbors are at war with each other, as with Russia attacking Ukraine. It's I mean, all of these. Well, go back to the Greeks, you know, even with, I mean, a lot of plays about war, and so many plays. I mean, and I think one of the things that's really great with this, I haven't actually seen a production of it, but this one person, Iliad, that they put together, where at the end they just list all of the conflicts, and there's so many, and the list keeps growing. Hey, David, is anything you'd like to share about the play, or Shaw, or anything? Or
Ah, yeah. You said it was the RSC that put together the Iliad, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah. There's an adaptation that's been done. I forget the names of it, which is bad because when I was working at Overlook Press, we published it. Of the Odyssey, where it's like a one person telling it. It was I think Stephen Spinella may have been one of the people who first did it, along with Dennis O'Hare. And it's done many places where it's sort of telling the story of it, and there's also a musician who accompanies it. But at the very end of it, it sort of lists from, the Trojan War, which, well, is somewhat sort of bordering between there probably was a Trojan War, but all of the myths that have grown up about it, but just how many wars there have been and how they continue, and they continuing, which is just unfortunate. And even we're at the when the great World War I, which was called the Great War, the war to end all wars, and you sort of figured, oh, everybody's got involved now, that once it gets resolved, and instead the way they resolved it ended up setting up the Second World War. And it's
I hate to say it, but I'm afraid with this, the war to end all wars is going to end all of us. If it happens.
Yeah. Because we definitely have the capabilities for that, and it's just, it's like, I just with the U.S. withdrawing from Afghanistan and all of the military hardware that we left for the Afghan people to be able to defend themselves with the Taliban, which now belongs to the Taliban, and all of these sorts of things. Like if we just spent, half as much on the military and half as much on actually building up the infrastructure of the society of Afghanistan, maybe we wouldn't have had to leave the way we did. But and also it just gets me that people just don't really pay attention to things, and everybody blames Biden for it was a messy withdrawal and it should have been handled better, and the government just kind of collapsed there. But it was Trump who made the deal with the Taliban that we were going to pull out. And people don't seem to remember that. With Iraq, they blamed Obama for it when it was Bush who made the deal.
Yeah.
So,
Whatever, but they're always looking to blame Biden for something.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just when there's so many things, and as we see in terms of this last summer being the hottest summer on record, that we should have our governments actually doing much more about trying to protect our environment so that people can continue to live on this planet. But,
and now, of course, now they're predicting we're going to have a really severe winter here, which doesn't sound not happy making for me, because I've got a show I'm supposed to be doing in January for VHRP Live, and I don't know what the weather's going to do to us.
Yeah, we have had fairly mild winters the last few years, but yeah, and as a postal carrier, I'm not looking forward to a lot of snow either. But anyways, so is this how many acts is this? Is this 3 acts or is it 4 acts?
The next act is the last act. So
alrighty.
So are we all back? Hello, because everybody's on pretty soon.
I'm here.
Yep.
I'm here.
Aki.
Hello.
You here, Drew?
Yes, I am.
Christina?
I'm here.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't we get started then? I got a lot of narration of set description to do at the beginning of this one, just so we know. I'll turn off this for the moment. Act 3. In the library after lunch. There's not much of a library. Its literary equipment consists of a single fixed shelf stocked with old paper-covered novels, broken backed, coffee-stained, torn and thumbed, and a couple of little hanging shelves with a few gift books on them. The rest of the wall space being occupied by trophies of war and the chase, but it is a most comfortable sitting room. A row of 3 large windows in the front of the house show a mountain panorama, which is just now seen in one of its softest aspects in the mellowing afternoon light. In the left-hand corner, a square earthenware stove, perfect tower of colored pottery, rises nearly to the ceiling and guarantees plenty of warmth. The ottoman in the middle is a circular bank of decorated cushions. There is one object, however, which is hopelessly out of keeping with its surroundings. This is a small kitchen table, much the worse for wear, fitted as a writing table. At the side of this table, which stands on the right, Bluntschli is hard at work with a couple of maps before him, writing orders. At the head of it sits Sergius, who is also supposed to be at work, but who is contemplating Bluntschli's quick, sure, business-like progress with a mixture of envious irritation of his own incapacity and awestruck wonder at an ability which seems to him almost miraculous. The major is comfortably established on the ottoman with a newspaper in his hand and the tube of a hookah within his reach. Catherine sits at the stove with her back to them, embroidering. Raina, reclining on the divan under the left-hand window, is gazing in a daydream out at the Balkan landscape. Are you sure I can't help you in any way, Bluntschli?
Quite sure. Thank you. Saranov and I will manage it.
Yes, we'll manage it. He finds out what to do, draws up the orders, I sign them. The division of labor, Major. Another one? Thank you. His hand is more accustomed to the sword than to the pen.
It's very good of you, Bluntschli. It is indeed to let yourself be put upon in this way. Now, are you quite sure I can do nothing?
You can stop interrupting, Paul.
Quite right, my love, quite right. You haven't been campaigning, Catherine. You don't know how pleasant it is for us to sit here after a good lunch with nothing to do but enjoy ourselves. There's only one thing I want to make me thoroughly comfortable.
What is that?
My old coat. I'm not at home in this one. I feel as if I were on parade.
My dear Paul, how absurd you are about that old coat. It must be hanging in the blue closet where you left it.
My dear Catherine, I tell you, I've looked there. Am I to believe my own eyes or not? What are you showing off that bell for? My dear, if you think the obstinacy of your sex can make a coat out of 2 old dressing gowns of Raina's, your waterproof and my mackintosh, you're mistaken. That's exactly what the blue closet contains at present.
Nicola, go to the blue closet and bring your master's old coat here, the braided one he usually wears in the house.
Yes, madam.
Catherine.
Yes, Paul.
I bet you any piece of jewelry you like to order from Sophia against a week's housekeeping money that coat isn't there.
Done, Paul.
Come, here's an opportunity for some sport. Who'll bet on it? Bluntschli? I'll give you 6 to 1.
It would be robbing you, Major. Madame is sure to be right.
Ha! Bravo, Switzerland. Major, I bet my best charger against an Arab mare for Reina that Nicola finds the blue coat in the closet.
Your best charge?
Don't be foolish, Paul. An Arabian mare will cost you 50,000 levas.
Really, Mother, if you were going to take the jewelry, I don't see why you should grudge me my Arab.
Where was it, Nicola?
Hanging in the blue closet, madam.
I am...
Paul?
I could have sworn it wasn't there. Age is beginning to tell on me. I'm getting hallucinations. Here, help me to change. Excuse me, Bluntschli. Remember, I didn't take that bet of yours, Sergius. You better give Raina that Arab steed yourself, since you've roused her expectations. Hey, Raina? She's dreaming as usual.
Assuredly, she shall not be the loser.
So much the better for her. I shan't come off so cheap, I expect. Now I feel at home at last.
That's the last order.
Oh,
Finished?
Finished. Haven't you anything for me to sign? Not necessary. His signature will do.
Well, I think we've done a thundering good day's work. Can I do anything else?
You had better both see the fellows that are to take these. Pack them off at once and show them that I've marked on the orders the time they should hand them in by. Tell them that if they stop to drink or tell stories, if they're 5 minutes late, they'll have the skin taken off their backs.
I'll say so. And if one of them is man enough to spit in my face for insulting him, I'll buy my discharge and give him a pension.
Just see that he talks to them properly. Major, will you?
Oh, quite right, Bluntschli. Quite right. I'll see to it. By the by, Catherine, you may as well come too. They'll be far more frightened of you than of me.
I dare say I had better. You will only splutter at them.
What a country. They make cannons out of cherry trees, and the officers send for their wives to keep discipline.
You look ever so much nicer than when last we met. What have you done to yourself?
Washed, brushed, good night's sleep, and breakfast. That's all.
Did you get back safely that morning?
Quite. Thanks.
Were they angry with you for running away from Sergius's charge?
No, they were glad because they'd all just run away themselves.
Must have made a lovely story for them. All that about me and my room.
Capital story. But I only told it to one of them, a particular friend.
On whose discretion you could absolutely rely?
Absolutely.
He told it all to my father and Sergius the day you exchanged the prisoners.
No, you don't mean that, do you?
I do. Indeed. But they don't know that it was in this house that you hid. If Sergius knew, he would challenge you and kill you in a duel.
Oh, bless me, then don't tell him.
Can you realize what it is to me to deceive him? I want to be quite perfect with Sergius. No meanness, no smallness, no deceit. My relation to him is the only one really beautiful and noble part of my life. I hope you can understand that.
You mean you wouldn't like him to find out the story about the ice pudding? It was you know.
Don't talk of it in that flippant way. I lied. I know it, but I did it to save your life. He would have killed you. That was the second time I've ever uttered a falsehood. Do you remember the first time?
No, was I present?
Yes. I told the officer who was searching for you that you were not present.
True, I should have remembered it.
It is natural that you should forget it first. It cost you nothing. It cost me a lie. A lie!
My dear young lady, don't let this worry you. Remember, I'm a soldier. Now, what are the two things that happen to a soldier so often that he comes to think nothing of them? One is hearing people tell lies. The other is getting his life saved in all sorts of ways by all sorts of people.
And so he becomes a creature incapable of faith and of gratitude.
Do you like gratitude? I don't. If pity is akin to love, gratitude is akin to the other thing.
Gratitude. If you were incapable of gratitude, you were incapable of any noble sentiment. Even animals are grateful. Oh, I see now exactly what you think of me. You were not surprised to hear me lie. To you, it was something I probably did every day, every hour. That is how men think of women.
There's reason in everything. You said you'd only told 2 lies in your whole life. Dear young lady, isn't that rather a short allowance? I'm quite a straightforward man myself, but it wouldn't last me a whole morning.
Do you know, sir, that you are insulting me?
I can't help it. When you get into that noble attitude and speak in that thrilling voice, I admire you. But I find it impossible to believe a single word you say.
Captain Bluntschli.
Yes?
Do you mean what you said just now? Do you know what you said just now?
I do.
I... How did you find me out?
Instinct, dear young lady? Instinct and experience of the world?
Do you know that you are The first man I ever met who did not take me seriously.
You mean, don't you? That I'm the first man that ever has taken you quite seriously.
Yes, I suppose I do mean that. How strange is it to be talked to in such a way? You know, I've always gone on like that. I mean, the noble attitude and the thrilling voice. I did it when I was a tiny child to my nurse. She believed in it. I do it before my parents. They believe in it. I do it before Sergius. He believes in it.
Yes, he's a little in that line himself, isn't he?
Do you think so?
You know him better than I do.
I wonder, is he? If I thought that, well, what does it matter? Suppose now you found me out, you despise me.
No, my dear young lady, no, 1,000 times. It's part of your youth, part of your charm. I'm like all the rest of them. The nurse, your parents, Sergius. I'm your infatuated admirer.
Really?
Hand of Herz. Really and truly.
But what did you think of me for giving you my portrait?
Your portrait? You never gave me your portrait.
Do you mean to say you never got it?
When did you send it to me?
I did not send it to you. It was in that pocket of that coat.
I never found it. It must be there still.
There still. For my father to find the first time he puts his hand in his pocket. Oh, how could you be so stupid?
It doesn't matter. It's only a photograph. How can he tell who it was intended for? Tell him he put it there himself.
Yes, that is so clever. So clever.
I see you wrote something on it. That was rash.
Done such a thing for you, who cared no more except to laugh at me. Oh, are you sure nobody has touched it?
Well, I can't be quite sure. You see, I couldn't carry it about with me all the time. One can't take much luggage on active service.
What did you do with it?
When I got through to Perrot, I had to put it in safekeeping somehow. I thought of the railway cloakroom, but that's the surest place to get it looted in modern warfare. So I pawned it.
Pawned it?
I know, it doesn't sound nice, but it was a much safer plan. I redeemed it the day before yesterday. Heaven only knows whether the pawnbroker cleared the pockets out or not.
You have a low shopkeeping mind. You think of things that would never come into a gentleman's head.
That's the Swiss national character, dear lady.
Oh, I wish I had never met you.
For you.
Oh,
The messenger is waiting.
will you excuse me? The last postal delivery that reached me was 3 weeks ago, and these are the subsequent accumulations. 4 telegrams a week old. Oh, bad news.
Bad news?
My father's dead.
Oh. How
Yes. I shall have to start for home in an hour. He's left a lot of big hotels behind him to be looked after. Here's a whacking letter from the family solicitor. Great heavens! 70, 200, 400, 4,000, 9,600. What on earth should I do with them all?
9,000 hotels?
Hotels. Nonsense. If you only knew. Oh, it's too ridiculous. Oh, excuse me. I must give my fellow orders about starting. Ah.
He has not much heart, that Swiss, though he is so fond of the Serbians. He has not a word of grief for his poor father.
Grief. A man who has been doing nothing but killing people for years. What does he care? What does any soldier care?
Major Saronov has been fighting too, and he has plenty of heart left. Ugh, thought you wouldn't get much feeling out of your soldier.
I've been trying all the afternoon to get a minute alone with you, my girl. Uh, why, what fashion is that of wearing your sleeve, child?
My own fashion.
Indeed. If the mistress catches you, she'll talk to you.
Is that any reason why you should take it on yourself to talk to me?
Come, don't be so contrary with me. I have some good news for you. See, a 20 leva bill. Sergius gave me that out of pure swagger. A fool and his money are soon parted. There's 10 levas more. The Swiss gave me that for backing up the mistresses and Raina's lies about him. He's no fool, he isn't. You should have heard old Catherine downstairs as polite as you please to me, telling me not to mind the major being a little impatient, for they knew what a good servant I was. After making a fool and a liar of me before them all. The 20 will go to our savings, and you shall have the 10 to spend if you'll only talk to me so as to remind me I'm a human being. I get tired of being a servant occasionally.
Yes. Sell your manhood for 30 levas and buy me for 10. Keep your money. You were born to be a servant. I was not. When you set up your shop, you will only be everybody's servant instead of somebody's servant.
Ah, wait till you see. We shall have our evenings to ourselves, and I shall be master in my own house. I promise you.
You shall never be master in mine.
You have a great ambition in you, Luca. Remember, if any luck comes to you, it was I that made a woman of you.
You?
Yes, me. Who was it made you give up wearing a couple of pounds of false black hair on your head and reddening your lips and cheeks like any other Bulgarian girl? I did. Who taught you to trim your nails and keep your hands clean and be dainty about yourself like a fine Russian lady? Me. Do you hear that? Me. I've often thought that if Raina were out of the way and you just a little less of a fool and Sergius just a little more of one, you might come to be one of my grandest customers instead of only being my wife and costing me money.
I believe you would rather be my servant than my husband. You would make more out of me. Oh, I know that soul of yours.
Never you mind my soul, but just listen to my advice. If you want to be a lady, your present behavior to me won't do at all, unless when we're alone. It's too sharp and impudence is a sort of familiarity. It shows affection for me, and don't you try being high and mighty with me either. You're like all country girls. You think it's genteel to treat a servant that way, the way I treat a stable boy. That's only your ignorance, and don't you forget it. And don't be so ready to defy everybody. Act as if you expected to have your own way, not as if you expected to be ordered about. The way to get on as a lady is the same as the way to get on as a servant. You've got to know your place. That's the secret of it. And you may depend on me to know my place if you got promoted. Think it over, my girl. I'll stand by you. One servant should always stand by another.
I must behave in my own way. You take all the courage out of me with your cold-blooded wisdom. Go and put those logs on the fire. That's the sort of thing you understand.
I'm not in the way of your work, I hope.
Oh, no, sir, thank you kindly. I was only speaking to this foolish girl about her habit of running up here to the library whenever she gets a chance to look at the books. That's the worst of her education, sir. It gives her habits above her station. Make that table tidy, Luca, for the major.
Let me see your arm. Is there a mark there? Oof. Does it hurt?
Yes.
Shall I cure it?
No, you cannot cure it now.
Quite sure?
Don't trifle with me, please. An officer should not trifle with a servant.
Well, that was no trifle, Luca.
No. Are you sorry?
I am very sorry.
I wish I could believe a man could be so unlike a woman as that. I wonder, are you really a brave man?
Yes, I am a brave man. My heart jumped like a woman's at the first shot, but in the charge I found that I was brave. Yes, at least that is real about me.
Did you find in the charge that the men whose fathers are poor like mine were any less brave than the men who are rich like you?
Not a bit. They all slashed and cursed and yelled like heroes. The courage to rage and kill is cheap. I have an English bull terrier who has as much of that sort of courage as the whole Bulgarian nation, and the whole Russian nation at its back. But he lets my groom thrash him all the same. That's your soldier all over. No, Luca, the poor man can cut throats, but they're afraid of their officers. They put up with insults and blows. They stand by and see one another punished like children. And they help each other to it when they're ordered. And the officers, well, I am an officer. Oh, give me a man that will defy to the death any power on earth or in heaven that sets itself against his own will and conscience. He alone is a brave man.
How easy it is to talk. Men never seem to grow up. They all have schoolboys' ideas. You don't know what true courage is.
Indeed. I am willing to be instructed.
Well, look at me. How much am I allowed to have my own will? I have to get your room ready for you, to sweep and to dust, to fetch and carry. How could that degrade me if it did not degrade you to have it done for you? But if I were Empress of Russia above everyone else in the world, then, though according to you I could show no courage at all, you should see. Oh, you should see.
Oh, what would you do, most noble Empress?
I would marry the man I loved, which no other queen in Europe has the courage to do. If I loved you, though you would be as far beneath me as I am beneath you, I would dare to be the equal of my inferior. Would you dare as much if you loved me? No. If you felt the beginnings of love for me, you would not let it grow. You dare not. You would marry a rich man's daughter because you would be afraid of what other people might say of you.
Oh, you lie. It is not so. By these stars, if I loved you and I were the Tsar himself, I would set you on a throne by my side. You know that I love another woman, a woman as high above you as heaven is above earth, and you are jealous of her.
I have no reason to be. Oh, she will never marry you now. The man I told you of has come back. She will marry the Swiss.
The Swiss?
A man worth 10 of you, then you can come to me and I will refuse you. You are not good enough for me.
What? I will kill the Swiss, and afterwards I'll do as I please with you.
The Swiss will kill you, perhaps.
Oh.
He has beaten you in love. He may beat you with war.
Oh, do you think I believe that she, whose worst thoughts are higher than the best ones of yours, is capable of trifling with another man behind my back?
You think she would believe the Swiss if he told her now that I am in your arms?
Damnation! Oh, damnation! Oh, mockery everywhere. Everything I think is mocked by everything I do. Oh, coward, liar, fool! Shall I kill myself like a man or live and pretend to laugh at myself? Oh, Luca, remember, you belong to me.
What does that mean? An insult?
It means that you love me and that I have had you here in my arms and will perhaps have you here again. Whether that is an insult, I neither know nor care. Take it as you please, but I will not be a coward and a trifler. If I choose to love you, I dare marry you in spite of all Bulgaria. If these hands ever touch you again, it shall be as my affianced bride.
We shall see whether you dare to keep your word. But take care. I will not wait long.
Yes, we shall see. And you shall wait my pleasure.
It's a remarkably looking young woman.
Captain Blunchley.
Huh?
You have deceived me. You are my rival. I brook no rivals. At 6 o'clock, I shall be in the drilling ground on the Klissura Road, alone, on horseback, with my saber. Do you understand?
Oh, thank you. That's a cavalryman's proposal. I'm in the artillery, and I have the choice of weapons. If I go, I shall take a machine gun, and there shall be no mistake about the cartridges this time.
Take care, sir. It is not our custom in Bulgaria to allow invitations of that kind to be trifled with.
Oh, don't talk to me about Bulgaria. You don't know what fighting is. But have it your own way. Bring your saber along. I'll meet you.
Well said, Switzer. Shall I lend you my best horse?
Ah, damn your horse. Thank you all the same, my dear fellow. I shall fight you on foot. Horseback's too dangerous. I don't want to kill you if I can help it.
I have heard what Captain Blunchley said, Sergius. You are going to fight. Why? What about?
I don't know. He hasn't told me. Better not interfere, dear young lady. No harm will be done. I've often acted as a sword instructor. He won't be able to touch me, and I'll not hurt him. It will save explanations. In the morning I shall be off home, and you never see me nor hear me again. And he will then make it up, and you both will live happily ever after.
I never said I wanted to see you again.
Oh, that is a confession.
What do you mean?
You love that man.
Sergius!
You allow him to make love to you behind my back, just as you accept me as your affianced husband behind his. Blunchley, you knew our relations, and you have deceived me. It is for that I call you to account, not for having received favors that I never enjoyed.
Stop rubbish! I've received no favors. Why, the young lady doesn't even know whether I'm married or not.
Oh! Are you?
You see the young lady's concern, Captain Blunchley. Denial is useless. You have enjoyed the privilege of being received in her own room late at night.
Yes, you blockhead. She received me with a pistol at her head. Your cavalry were at my heels. I'd have blown her brains out if she'd uttered a cry.
Blunchley. Oh, Raina, is that true?
Oh, how dare you? How dare you?
Apologize, man. Apologize.
I never apologize.
This is the doing of that friend of yours, Captain Blunchley. It is he who is spreading this horrible story about me.
No, he's dead. Burnt alive.
Oh.
Burnt alive?
Shot in the hip in a wood yard. Couldn't drag himself out. Your fellow shells set the timber on fire and burnt him, with a half a dozen other poor devils in the same predicament.
How horrible.
Oh, how ridiculous. Oh, war. War. The dream of patriots and heroes. A fraud, Blunchley, a hollow sham. Like love.
Like love. You say that before me.
Come, Saranov, the matter is explained.
A hollow sham, I say. Would you have come back here if nothing had passed between you except at the muzzle of your pistol? Raina is mistaken about our friend who was burnt. He was not my informant.
Who then? Ah, Luca. My maid, my servant, you were with her that morning, all that time after. Oh, what sort of God is this that I have been worshiping? Do you know that I looked out of that window as I went upstairs to have another sight of my hero, and I saw something that I did not understand then. I know now, you were making love to her.
You saw that?
Only too well.
Raina, our romance is shattered. Life's a farce.
You see, he's found himself out now.
Oh, Blunchley, I have allowed you to call me a blockhead. You may now call me a coward as well. I refuse to fight you. Do you know why?
No, but it doesn't matter. I didn't ask the reason when you cried on, and I don't ask the reason now that you cry off. I'm a professional soldier. I fight when I have to, and I'm very glad to get out of it when I haven't to. You're only an amateur. You think fighting's an amusement.
You shall hear the reasoning all the same, my professional. The reason is that it takes two men, real men, men of heart, blood, and honor, to make a genuine combat. I could no more fight with you than I could make love to an ugly woman. You have no magnetism. You are not a man. You are a machine.
Quite true. Quite true. I always was that sort of chap. I'm very sorry. And now that you found out that life isn't a farce, but something quite sensible and serious, what further obstacle is there to your happiness?
You're very solicitous about my happiness and his. Do you forget his new love, Luca? It is not you that he must fight now, but his rival, Nicola.
Rival?
Did you not know they are engaged?
Nicola? Oh, fresh abysses are opening. Nicola!
A shocking sacrifice, isn't it? Such beauty, such intellect, such modesty wasted on a middle-aged servant man. Really, Sergius, you cannot stand by and allow such a thing. It would be unworthy of your chivalry.
Oh, viper, viper!
Look here, Cernov. You're getting the worst of this.
Do you realize what he has done, Captain Bluntschli? He has sent this girl as a spy on us, and her reward is that he makes love to her.
False! Monstrous!
Monstrous! Do you deny that she told you about Captain Bluntschli being in my room?
No.
Do you
But,
deny that you were making love to her when she told you?
no, but I tell
It's
you.
unnecessary to tell us anything more. It is quite enough for us.
Told you were getting the worst of it, Cernov.
Tiger cat.
You hear this man calling me names, Captain Bluntschli?
What else can he do, dear lady? He must defend himself somehow. Oh. Well, come, don't quarrel. What good does it do?
Engaged to Nicola. Oh, well, Bluntschli, you are right to take this huge imposture of the world coolly.
I dare say you think us a couple of grown-up babies, don't you?
He does. Swiss civilization, nurse-tending Bulgarian barbarism, hey?
Not at all, I assure you. I'm only very glad to get you two quieted. Let's be pleasant and talk it over in a friendly way. And where is this other young lady?
Listening out the door, probably.
No, I will prove that. That, at least, is calumny. Judge her, Bluntschli. You, the moderate, cautious man, judge the eavesdropper.
I mustn't judge her. I once listened myself outside a tent where there was a mutiny brewing. It was all a question of the degree of provocation. My life was at stake.
My love was at stake. I am not ashamed.
Your love, your curiosity, you mean?
My love, stronger than anything you can feel, even for your chocolate cream soldier.
Well, what does that mean?
It means that
Oh, yes, I remember the ice pudding. Paltry taut girl.
Excuse my shirt sleeves, gentlemen. Rainis, somebody has been wearing that coat of mine. I'll swear it. Somebody with bigger shoulders than mine. It's all burst open at the back. Your mother is mending it. Oh, I wish she'd make haste. I shall catch cold. Is anything the matter?
No.
Oh, no.
Nothing.
That's all right. Anything the matter, Luca?
no, sir.
That's all right. Go and ask your mistress my coat like a good girl, will you?
Here it is, Papa. Give it to me, Nicola. And do you put some wood on the fire?
Going to be very good to your poor old Papa for one day after his return from the war, eh?
How can you say that to me, Father?
Oh, well, only a little joke, little one. Come, give me a kiss. Now, give me the coat.
Now, I am going to put it on for you. Turn your back.
He turns his back and feels behind him with his arms for the sleeves. She dexterously takes the photograph from the pocket and throws it on the table before Bluntschli, who covers it with a sheet of paper under the very nose of Sergius, who looks on, amazed, with his suspicions roused in the highest degree. She then helps Petkoff on with his coat.
There, dear. Are you comfortable?
Quite, little love, thanks. Oh, by the by, I found something funny. What's the meaning of this? Hello? Well, I could have sworn I wonder. Oh, where can it? Your mother's taken it.
Taken what?
Your photograph with the inscription, Raina to a chocolate cream soldier, a souvenir. Now, you know, there's something more in this than meets the eye, and I am going to find it out. Nicola!
Sir,
Did you spoil any pastry of Miss Raina's this morning?
you heard Miss Raina say that I did, sir.
I know that, you idiot. Was it true?
I am sure Miss Raina is incapable of saying anything that is not true, sir.
Are you? Then I'm not. Come, do you think I don't see it all? Sergius, you are the chocolate cream soldier, aren't you?
I, a chocolate cream soldier, certainly not.
Not? Do you mean to tell me that Raina sends photographic souvenirs to other men?
The world is not such an innocent place as we used to think, Petkoff.
All right, Major. I'm the chocolate cream soldier. The gracious young lady saved my life by giving me chocolate creams when I was starving. Shall I ever forget their flavor? My late friend Stolas told you the story at Pirat. I was the fugitive.
You? Sergius, do you remember how those two women went on this morning when we mentioned it? Oh, you're a nice young woman, aren't you?
Major Saranoff has changed his mind. And when I wrote that on the photograph, I did not know that Captain Blunchley was married.
I'm not married.
You said you were.
I did not. I possibly did not. I was never married in my life.
Raina, will you kindly inform me, if I'm not asking too much, which gentleman you are engaged to?
Neither of them. This young lady is the object of Major Saranoff's affection at present.
Luca, are you mad, Sergius? Why, this girl's engaged to Nicola.
I beg your pardon, sir. There is a mistake. Luca is not engaged to me.
Not engaged to you, you scoundrel. Why, you had 25 levers from me on the day of your betrothal, and she had that gilt bracelet from Miss Raina.
We gave it out so, sir, but it was only to give Luca protection. She had a soul above her station, and I have been no more than her confidential servant. I intend, as you know, sir, to set up a shop later on in Sophia, and I look forward to her custom and recommendation should she marry into the nobility.
Well, I am...
This is either the finest heroism or the most crawling baseness. Which is it, Blunchley?
Never mind whether it's heroism or baseness. Nicola's the ablest man I've met in Bulgaria. I'd make him manager of a hotel if he can speak French and German.
I have been insulted by everyone here. You set them the example. You owe me an apology.
It's no use. He never apologizes.
Not to you, his equal and his enemy. To me, his poor servant. He will not refuse to apologize.
You're right. Forgive me.
I forgive you. That touch makes me your affianced wife.
I forgot that.
You can withdraw if you like.
Never. I never withdraw. You belong to me.
What does this mean?
Well, my dear, it appears that Sergius is going to marry Luca instead of Raina. Don't blame me, I have nothing to do with it.
Marry Luca. Sergius, you are bound by your word to us.
Nothing binds me.
Fair enough, your hand. My congratulations. These heroics of yours have their practical side after all. Gracious young lady, the best wishes of a good Republican.
Luca, You have been telling stories.
I have done Raina no harm.
Raina?
I have a right to call her Raina. She calls me Luca. I told Major Saranov she would never marry him if the Swiss gentleman came back.
Hello.
I thought you were fonder of him than of Sergius. You know best whether I was right.
What nonsense. I assure you, my dear Major, my dear Madam, the gracious young lady simply saved my life. Nothing else. She never cared 2 straws for me. I bless my heart and soul. Look at the young lady and look at me. She, rich, young, beautiful, with her imagination full of fairy princes and noble natures and cavalry charges and goodness knows what. And I, a commonplace Swiss soldier who hardly knows what a decent life is after 15 years of barracks and battles. A vagabond, a man who has spoiled all his chances in life through an incurably romantic disposition. A man...
Excuse me, Blunchley. What did you say had spoiled your chances in life?
An incurably romantic disposition. I ran away from home twice when I was a boy. I went into the army instead of into my father's business. I climbed the balcony of this house when a man of sense would have dived into the nearest cellar. I came sneaking back here to have another look at that young lady when any other man of my age would have sent the coat back.
My coat?
Yes, that's the coat I mean. Would you have sent it back and gone home quietly? Do you suppose I'm the sort of fellow a young girl falls in love with? I look at our ages. I'm 34. I don't suppose the young lady is much over 17. All that adventure, which was life and death to me, was only a schoolgirl's game to her. Chocolate creams and hide and seek. Here's the proof. Now, I ask you, would a woman who took the affair seriously have sent me this and written on it, Raina, to her chocolate cream soldier, a souvenir?
That's what I was looking for. How the deuce did it get there?
I have put everything right, I hope, gracious young lady.
Quite agree with your account of yourself. You are a romantic idiot. Next time, I hope you will know the difference between a schoolgirl of 17 and a woman of 23.
23?
Blunchley. My one last belief is gone. Your sagacity is a fraud, like all other things. You have less sense than even I have.
23? 23? In that case, Major Petkoff, I beg to propose formally to become a suitor for your daughter's hand in place of Major Saranov retired.
You dare!
If you were 23 when you said those things to me this afternoon, I shall take them seriously.
I doubt, sir, whether you quite realize either my daughter's position or that of Major Sergius Saranov, whose place you propose to take. The Petkoffs and the Saranovs are known as the richest and most important families in the country. Our position is almost historical. We can go back for nearly 20 years.
Oh, never mind that, Catherine. We should be most happy, Blunchley, if it were only a question of your position. But hang it, you know, Raina is accustomed to a very considerable establishment. Sergius keeps 20 horses.
But what on earth is the use of 20 horses? Why, it's a circus.
My daughter, sir, is accustomed to a first-rate stable.
Hush, mother, you're making me ridiculous.
Oh, well, if it comes to a question of establishment, here goes. How many horses did you say?
20, noble Switzer.
I have 200 horses. How many carriages?
3.
I have 70. 24 of them will hold 12 inside, besides 2 on the box, without counting the driver and conductor. How many tablecloths have you?
How the deuce do I know?
Have you 4,000?
No.
Oh, I have 9,600 pairs of sheets and blankets with 2,400 eider-down quilts. I have 10,000 knives and forks and the same quantity of dessert spoons. I have 600 servants. I have 6 palatal establishments besides 2 livery stables, a tea garden, a private house. I have 4 medals for distinguished service. I have the rank of an officer and the standing of a gentleman, and I have 3 native languages. Show me any man in Bulgaria that can offer as much.
Are you Emperor of Switzerland?
My rank is highest known in Switzerland. I am a free citizen.
Well, then, Captain Bluntschli, since you are my daughter's choice, I shall not stand in the way of her happiness. That is Major Petkoff's feeling also.
Oh, I shall be only too glad. 200 horses? Huh.
Oh, well, what says the lady?
The lady says that he could keep his tablecloths and his omnibuses. I am not here to be sold to the highest bidder.
I won't take that answer. I appealed to you as a fugitive, a beggar, and a starving man. You accepted me. You gave me your hand to kiss, your bed to sleep in, and your roof to shelter me.
I did not give them to the Emperor of Switzerland.
That's just what I say. Now tell us who you did give them to.
To my chocolate cream soldier.
That'll do. Thank you. Oh, time's up, Major. You've managed those regiments so well, you are sure to be asked to get rid of some of the infantry of Timok Division. Send them home by the way of Lompolunka. Surinov, don't get married until I come back. I shall be here punctually at 5 in the evening on Tuesday fortnight. Gracious ladies, good evening.
What a man. What a man.
And curtain. 2 1/4. That's about right.
Great job. Well done, everyone. That was delightful. Thank you so much. Thank you, David, for putting this all together, and everybody really did a great job with it. Thank you. Any final words before we sign off from the YouTube? But it's a fun play, and still, like, you know.
Yeah,
What
I
do we-
think I was. Well, I kept postponing it because I was. We're still recording. I don't want to say this on the recording.
Okay, so should we end the recording then? All right.
Yeah.
So let me end the live stream and the recording.